Is child support really for the children, or is it sometimes used to upgrade the custodial parent's lifestyle? Because in this courtroom right here, what we're about to get into, that exact question comes to life in real time. A mother sits calmly on Zoom listening as the judge announces what she says she's always wanted: 50-50 custody, equal time, equal parenting, and of course, equal rights. Now, the father, he's quietly nodding and listening, excited, proud that he'll finally get to see his son half the time. And everything seems like it's going peaceful until he asks one question: will my child support automatically change? And that's when the judge explains, yes, now that the both of you, mom and dad, have equal custody, the monthly payment will be reviewed and most likely will be reduced. That's when her entire energy shifts. The same woman who moments ago said, I believe this is in the best interest of my son, all of a sudden begins to hesitate and her voice begins to tighten. In fact, you can almost see the moment where she finally realizes joint custody doesn't just split time and affect the amount of time you spend with that child as a parent, but it also affects the amount of child support that you will receive. And from that moment, everything about the best interest of the child starts to sound like a financial negotiation. Now, I have to be honest, this dude came with a huge curveball, which is a huge red flag and a lesson for every man today. But for everyone who watches this, it's really hard to not notice that her energy shifts until she realizes she won't be getting the same exact amount of money she's been getting on child support, which begs the question, why does it matter if the kid is going to be spending half the time with the dad? No more wasting time. Shout out to Family Court Chaos. Let's get it.
Equal week on, week off parenting time. This hearing is being conducted via Zoom. York Kelly Carpenter, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, and sir, you are Stephen Jackson?
Yes, sir.
All right. The two of you have conferred with Ms. Andrus this morning. We'll soon be provided with court with a recommendation. I'm sorry, there it is. The recommendation of Ms. Andrus for the front of the court is that the referee recommended order be adopted but modified as follows. That mother shall have parenting time every Monday and Tuesday. Father shall have parenting time every Wednesday and Thursday. And the two of you will alternate weekends from Friday after school or 3 p.m. if there's no school until Sunday at 6 p.m. The father's weekend begins February 16th, which is Friday of this week after school. And the mother's weekend begins February 23rd, following weekend. In addition, the parties shall have parenting time at such other times as the two of you can agree. If you reach an agreement on parenting time or holidays outside this order, then they should put that in writing via text or email. The party beginning parenting time shall be in charge of picking up the minor child. The mother shall claim the minor child as a dependent for tax purposes on odd years. Father shall claim the minor child as a dependent for tax purposes on even years. It's good that we address that now than at a later point in time. So thank you, Ms. Sanders, for covering that with the parties. So that is the recommendation, Mr. Jackson and Ms. Carpenter. So with the court adopting this, you would have joint physical. And actually, this court does not put out emphasis on joint physical.
So if you guys have learned anything yet, and I have to say this because I think it's so important that men know this, especially if you're dealing with this exact same type situation, because, you know, there's a man in this situation and woman who may need to know this. Unless if your state does have automatic default 50-50 custody, then for most men, you need to know that the more custody you do have, the less you will pay in child support. If you have more custody than your wife and also have legal custody, then in most states, she will be the one that will be put on child support. So negotiating and fighting for custody like this man is doing is a powerful play. Let's keep watching. A quick word about the sponsor of this channel, fathershaverights.com. While having a conversation with one of the expert attorneys in our prenup guide, he made a pretty shocking statement. He said, everyone has a prenup when they get married. He went on to say they're called divorce laws. And if you don't draft your own prenup, the government writes one for you. That means politicians and courts you have never met will decide what happens if your marriage ends. And while every husband, like myself, hopes that our marriage ends till death do us part, the reality is over 50% of marriages today end in divorce. So the real question here is, do you trust strangers to write your prenup, or do you want to write it with the woman you are marrying? If you'd like to take charge and learn how to draft your own prenup, hit the link pinned to the top of the comments section and take the first step in securing your marriage today.
Joint legal means you share equally any major decisions concerning the welfare of your child, such as elective surgery, health. You need to share information if he goes to the emergency room. Somebody you got to notify the other parent immediately. And you need to, if you cannot reach agreement on things like health and education and religion, then the court makes those decisions, and hopefully you can agree upon those. And joint physical means that that person makes the day-to-day decision. So whoever has parenting time, you decide what time your child's going to bed, what he has for dinner, things of that nature, day-to-day decisions. So if the court adopts this, you'll have joint physical, and specific parenting time, which is relatively equal, but not week on, week off. So, Ms. Carpenter, do you understand the recommendation this morning?
Yeah.
Do you have any objection to the court adopting this recommendation as an order of the court?
No.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, do you understand the recommendation?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to the court adopting the recommendation?
No, sir.
Of course, as circumstances change, either one of you can always petition the court to modify parenting time. So your child gets older and circumstances change, someone moves, you got different employment, you can't be there for the child. Someone can always petition to modify parenting time. It's always subject to modification upon a change of circumstances. But the reality is, if you want your son to thrive and do well in life, you need to be on the same page. Communication is the key. It's really the key. There's enough challenges in life to make it good for each other and your son. And Ms. Carpenter, you are the mother of the minor child Romeo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Uh-oh, mom has a question.
Do you believe this agreement is in the best interest of your son at this point in time in his life?
I'm a little worried about it, but I'm hoping it will be good.
You're asking the court to adopt the recommendation, correct?
Yes.
All right. Court obviously will take from that. That's addressed the court to adopt the recommendation that you believe that at this point in time in his life, it's in his best interest. Mr. Jackson, state your name for the record.
Stephen Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, you are the father of the minor child Romeo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you believe this recommendation is in the best interest of your son?
Yes, sir.
Do either of you have any questions for the court?
No.
The only question I have, would I have to go on my own and file a motion when it comes to my child support and everything like that, or is that an automatic change, or how does that work?
Well, it appears that a child support order was entered $820 per month effective January 1st, 2024.
Okay, he's been paying $820 per month, man. Not protecting your seat. If you haven't seen this yet, especially outside the confines of a marriage, and especially doing that multiple times, is almost a guaranteed way to ruin yourself financially as a man. That's the truth. And I have to say it. I have to say that. Let's listen to what she has to say.
That order was entered. So
No, right. They told me that it would change once I was able to get physical joint custody and everything was.
She looks upset.
Ms. Anderson, if you can address that, I don't know the recommendation. I don't know what that was based upon. And it looks like Mr. Jackson was only given 75 overnights.
Correct. That was based on the judgment of support. So again, I can, if parties are agreement, because again, today was only regarding the objection to the recommendation for custody and parenting time. So if they're agreement, I can put child support be referred to the front of the court. If not, he'll have to file a child support motion.
So there, she's saying, hey, this is a custody hearing overall. We're not here to actually calculate the child support, but she can refer the child support situation to a friend of the court. And that's just usually a reference to another department that handles situations outside of the actual case by providing expertise, information, so on and so forth.
Okay. Do you have time to talk to them this morning and based on their incomes, maybe run it and see what difference it would make? Based on overnights, it'll make a little bit of difference, Mr. Jackson, not a significant amount.
And then I also just had another child on the 14th. So I know that kind of factors in also. Well,
again, there's more involved. Maybe we should refer it then. Perhaps, Ms. Anderson, maybe we just add to your recommendation that the issue of child support can we possibly add that to this recommended order this morning? Might be perhaps the best way to address this. It appears that Ms. Anderson is frozen up. We'll wait for her to reappear. So we can ask that question. Yes, if we can put this in this order that the issue of child support is referred in front of the court, then we can eliminate having to file a motion. Ms. Andrus, is it possible we can squeeze in a sentence in here that the issue of child support be referred in front of the court?
I can do that, Your Honor.
Advised. Okay. All right. So we'll put this. We'll put a sentence in here, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Carpenter, that the issue of child support is referred in front of the court for investigation recommendation. You both get a copy of the written recommendation. If either of you has an objection, you got to file a written objection within 21 days. If you do not, it'll become an automatic order of the court. If either party objects to it, then it'll come back before the court to make a decision.
So mom's computer is actually frozen up right now. She will respond here in a little bit. But I do want to highlight the fact that this man right here decided to have another child. And he will suffer the consequences of that. Unfortunately, the only people here who I personally feel very bad for typically are the children when it comes to people who are making these type of reckless decisions, especially when it's one that's made repeated, because no one's perfect. I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes, but this doesn't sound like he's learned and this is within the confines of a marriage. That's not what I'm getting here from this situation at all. Bad move. The last stats I saw, at least here in California, is that it costs like over $300K to raise a child till 18. Obviously, California is more expensive than other states, but it's not cheap anywhere you go. And when you start racking up those expenses, then that's debt that you're in. And I think there are two things that people look back and they're like, man, I could have done that better. Number one, kids that they could have had when they were more prepared. Number two, college degrees, college debt.
Okay. But again, obviously you owe the $820 for the month of January, Mr. Carpenter, so you need to make that payment.
Yeah, no, they take everything out of my checks, and then I paid $855 at the end of January.
Okay. All right. Anything further from either one of you?
Nope.
Ms. Carpenter?
Well, now, is that just, are you trying to get all these days so that your child support can be changed? Is that what
This is about my son having me in his life.
well,
Just like,
life using me?
this isn't an argument about money. This is about
No.
my son being around and everything like that.
Right. The court would like to assume that he's not doing this for ulterior motives, Ms. Carpenter.
Right.
But the reality is yes, there'll be a slight modification, reduction because of the relatively equal overnights. And the court is hoping he's not doing this. And we'll see how active a father he is. Obviously, children are best served if they spend as much time with each parent as possible. And if Mr. Jackson is not exercising parenting time, he's leaving it with his mother or his girlfriend, and that's obviously based to modify parenting time. So we'll get Mr. Jackson, see how he does. If he's going to really be vested in this child's life, hopefully he will. So the court's going to assume he's got the proper motive for doing this, and time will tell.
Yeah, no, I've always been a big part of my son's life, so this isn't something new or anything like that. I've always been a major part of my son's life.
And listen, young men need their fathers. They need their fathers. And I'll be honest with you. I am not upset with the question being, yeah, that's a part of it. That's a part of it. What's wrong with that being a part of the motivation of you wanting 50-50 custody? Because he's getting screwed. Now, we don't know if that's by the state. And what I mean is it the type of situation where she obviously earns more than him? Because they said, okay, I don't think that 50-50 custody would significantly drop your child support. I was confused there, but that tells me that he obviously out-earns her by a lot. Or she's on government assistance. And if it's both, obviously with wanting to be a father being the main priority, I'm like, why not?
And again, obviously, I know your work schedule, but obviously this parent time is for you. It's not for your girlfriend or your mother or your sister, Mr. Jackson. You need to be there.
No, right, exactly. And I assume the same for her.
Okay. All right. That will conclude hearing. You'll be emailed a copy of this order, and hopefully we can move forward in a positive fashion for your child's benefit. Obviously, you've always got to talk positively about the other parent in the presence of your child. That's real critical. Little things are important. Mr. Jackson, you should always make sure Romeo has a card for his mother on Mother's Day. Likewise, Ms. Carpenter should always make sure Romeo has a Father's Day card for his father on Father's Day. Those little things mean a lot to children. They really do.
Oh, yeah, no, we've always been good with doing stuff like that.
Okay. All right. That concludes the matter. We're going to add the language about the referral to the child support to the front of the court for recommendation. With that, I'll conclude the matter. You can all both zoom out. Have a good rest of the day.
All right. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Do you know what instantly sobers me up when I'm looking at these situations and I'm like, this is terrible, this isn't. It's when I remember that at some point she was texting him, smiling, saying, "You're the best man in the world. I love you so much." And he was doing the same thing. And she decided to allow this man to impregnate her. These guys aren't just going around forcing these women to have babies. I know there are people out there that would like to believe that, but that's not the case. And another woman saw him and said, "You know what? You're great. Why don't I give you the highest honor man can receive when he's dealing with the woman, which is giving you my womb, becoming your second baby mama." These would be the same chicks that will remind you that they're strong and independent and are adults in every single way. And I'm like, you know what? You did choose that. Top commenter says 50-50, in my opinion, means there shouldn't be any child support. I also thought about that as well. So yeah, I already kind of touched on that. He probably out earns her significantly, or she may be receiving government assistance. But what is interesting is that second dependent really brought down that child support. It seems like that played a really significant role. Almost like if he didn't bring up that dependent, then his child support would not have had that significant drop. Of course, now that can't be a cure to you avoiding paying child support, because chances are he's recreating the same type of situation. Next comment here says, "It's crap that the father has to prove himself to be a good father, but the mom doesn't." Pure crap. I think that's very true. People just assume, and I've thought about this many times, people just assume that just because a mother has custody, that she is doing the noble and right thing, when the truth is there are plenty of fathers out here who fight and fight and fight. They'll love to have that 50-50 custody, but to them, you have to show us that you deserve it. Not right, and why many states are embracing 50-50 default custody law. Somebody else who says, if it's 50-50, neither parent should pay. Support the system. This system is so broken. Another person who says, this judge was a tool for lecturing the father, feeding into mom, questioning his motives. Why should he pay more than he's supposed to? Mom wouldn't want to either. Another person who says, I had 50-50, no child support, no alimony, nothing. We both worked, did that for 16 years. Easy peasy. Another comment here says, she's upset that he had another child with someone else. Somebody's running back to that and says, well, yeah, that's pretty painful. What's the logic behind it being painful for someone who you're no longer dealing with? This is not me justifying it, guys. I'm telling you, he's ruining his life one nut at a time. But why would that be painful if you're truly over that person and you're moving on? This woman here says the judge should be lecturing the mother as well. And somebody else here responded back and said, he always sticks up for mothers. Here's somebody else who says, exactly, I hate that. He just started on him like, don't forget to give your 2 cents to the greedy mother as well. Yeah. There's no reason she should sit there and be upset that she's getting less in child support because you're having to spend less for that child, unless if that money was getting used for something else. Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.